Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Shawn Mackey Show. He's so unpredictable. Mother Nature calls him for advice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Shawn Mackey Show, Season 2, episode number 24. We're down to the second to the last episode of the season. Oh, I took some time. I'm stretching this out. Season number 2 ends with episode 25. We're probably going to record that after the Super Bowl. This is episode 24. So we're taking a little time off because pitchers and catchers report soon after the Super Bowl, and we're going to be ready to move into Chicago Cubs baseball and Major League Baseball action. And I got some big things planned for you for next season. Now, this has primarily been an audio podcast. With our recording software, we always record video. As you can see, we use little short clips from the video to promote the podcast. But for next season, season 3, we are going to be transitioning heavily into the video version. So for those of you that do listen on Spotify and Apple, if you want to see some hijinks, go check out the video versions. We are in the process of getting all of season 2 uploaded to the YouTube. And we are now, with this recording, going to be incorporating some graphics and some cool video visuals. And in the works is a studio backdrop kind of plan. We got, right now I think, if those, you see the clips on Facebook or Instagram or, wherever I share them, and it's just like this big head, just sitting right there looking at you like, whoa. The dude's right there. Shit, he's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nose hairs. So we're looking to maybe revamp some things and escalate this a little further. And we may actually be considering, and we are considering, a focus on YouTube with the video, because there's some crazy things I can do. Hopefully. When I'm talking about something, provide you a graphic, maybe get that little photo up there, right over, where would it be? Where's the camera? Right about there, with a video graphic of what I am speaking of. So here we are. Bears, Rams. Final game of the season for the Bears. I know I've talked about not calling the season a success, but I kind of call it a success, but not a success, if that makes any sense to you. It was a great game. It was an absolute tough loss. You had plenty chances to win, and we'll get to that here in a few minutes. This is the game that I finally felt Dennis Allen had the defense, and they all came together, and they freaking played a great game. The Los Angeles Rams were the number 1 scoring offense in the NFC. Oh, and that's something we're going to talk about here in a minute. And the Bears held them to 20 points. And in the Bears defense, that was like Jaquan Brisker, soon to be free agent. 8 tackles, 6 assists, a sack. DeMarco Jackson, we talked about him on the last couple of episodes. Boom, he's up there as number 2. Not a lot, 5 tackles, 2 assists. But you look at the numbers in the stat sheet, and there was not a lot of glamour there, so to speak. But the Bears held the Rams to 20 points. They lost the game, but the Rams went on to play Seattle for the NFC Championship. And Seattle, the number 1 scoring defense, and every time I've watched Seattle, I felt that this team was going to the Super Bowl and this team is going to win it all because of their defense. And I've talked to you about this before on previous episodes. Defense wins championships. And Seattle's defense let the Rams put up 27 points. That's a pretty big win for me, all right? I had to wait a week to see how it played out, but I feel at this point Dennis Allen had his guys ready to go, and it was close all the way into overtime, okay? You had 3 opportunities to win that game, and there was very questionable play calling by Ben Johnson, okay? First-year head coach. He's been a coordinator. He's been in the league for a long time, right? But he opted to repeatedly go for it on 4th down and did not attempt to put points on the board, at least by my calculation, on 3 occasions. And I think it really kind of cost the Bears the game, okay? After the Broncos lost to New England, Sean Payton was kind of questioning his aggressiveness, and he didn't put the points on the board. And if you succeed, Ben Johnson, 1 out of 3 of those times in regulation, you probably beat the Rams and you were playing Seattle for that NFC championship, okay? And I saw something, so I grew up in Chicago. You all know that. You've been listening. And I like the 670 the score, which now I think they partnered with an FM station. It's 104.3, the score. And they regularly have Olin Kreutz on. And they asked him about that. And Olin Kreutz, like the first words out of his mouth, I believe were, and I'll try to provide a link for this in the blog. And I do have a blog for the show. But he said, first of all, he would have taken the points. But he went on to say that that's not who Ben Johnson is. If you wanted that guy, you shouldn't have hired Ben Johnson. Later, Olin Kreutz says Ben Johnson didn't know if his defense would be able to stop the number 1 scoring offense in the league. So he wanted to be aggressive and get more points. Okay. But on 3 occasions, you elected to go for more points and got none. 0. Zilch. Nada. Not a damn fucking thing. You didn't get shit. Ben Johnson can gamble, but he should have learned from Dan Campbell that sometimes the gamble gets you in trouble. And I'm going to say this. As far as Bears fans are concerned, we will run you out of town faster if you consistently gamble and lose games that you should have won. It's a hard fan base. And that's kind of why I said I'll consider it a success and not consider it a success. Because once you achieved a certain level of success that exceeded the fans' expectations, the organization's expectations, you should have gotten better and made sure you got better. And we heard Ben Johnson talk all season long. Every time we kept seeing the same mistakes, penalties, slow starts, execution. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. Great. He comes out and says at the end of the season, someone's like, how do you build on this? He's like, if you think we're building on this, you're crazy. We're going back to square one. I get it. I love it. I love the logic. Rebuild from the bottom up because you're going to have new players coming in. Everybody seems to think that the defense isn't there, but the defense was built before the offense. And all the guys that are, 8 out of 11 starters on the defense are guys that Poles went after and got through free agency and the draft. Okay. But you're going to still change personnel. There's a lot of key free agents coming up this season. So there's decisions that need to be made. But the fans in Chicago will run you out of town faster if you gamble and lose more than you win, because we're still chasing that elusive championship. We had 85. For those of us who are alive to have witnessed that, that's our defining moment. And then we had the Colts, and it was 2006, and then that was a letdown. So we need to see victories. We need to see a better team next year. And this is why I'm skeptical, because we saw this with Matt Nagy. He came in his first year, coach of the year, Bears win the division, bing, bing, double doink, I believe that was. And then nothing. Right? So I think on one drive, the Bears were inside the red zone. They had 1st and goal from the Rams' 5-yard line. And it was Swift left for 2 yards. Then, run Swift right. He gains a yard. And then they run him right again, but this time outside, nothing. And then, boom, Caleb throws an incomplete pass. You turn the ball over on downs. And I'm here to say, and I wonder where the designed run plays are for Caleb Williams. Because if there have been some, I haven't seen it and witnessed it in my games, watching the games. I mean, I'm looking at that New England Broncos game the other day, and it gets down to the last couple of minutes of the game. And then we find out later that Drake May freaking did it on his own. Kept the ball himself, but the way he did it made me think it was a designed run, that's what they called. And they line up at the line of scrimmage, and there's a fake, and then Drake May just kind of hips the ball and just rolls out to his left, and boom, he beats the defender for the first down, and they're able to run out the clock, and the game's over. The Broncos lose. And I'm thinking, you've got Caleb Williams. Why aren't you doing this more? There was a point in that game where they were 4th and 2, and they did like that. Caleb snapped the ball. He was under center, little fake. And then he just scoots in behind the left guard and then picks up 3 or 4 yards for the first down. So one, I think that's something you need there, because at this point, you've run Swift left, Swift right twice. At this point, now you're going to throw the ball. Well, how about line up in the exact same way and then fake Swift, and then Caleb with his athleticism, let him get to the corner of the end zone. Right? So there was plenty of opportunities for the Bears to win this game. So I think it's a success because they did achieve a lot more than we thought they would. They took us up to the divisional round. We had some great football. We saw some remarkable comebacks. I feel now, I've been on Caleb Williams, but I think the kid's learning some things. But now I think Ben Johnson needs to learn Caleb Williams. And what's the deal? Does Caleb not like to run and only runs when he has to? Or, and I know coaches don't like to design runs for quarterbacks. They might get hurt, but, teach him how to slide. He already knows how to do that. We've seen it. Man, draw up some plays that you can utilize his talents on some designed quarterback runs. So it is what it is, right? And then we see the whole DJ Moore thing play out. And a lot of people are trade DJ Moore. He gave up on the play. He gave up on this. And then Caleb comes out and says, I was hoping he would flatten the route. And then, Ben Johnson says, I confused him on that play, so it's my fault. It's on me. And I think there was a lot of things going on here. At one point, DJ left the field, went to the blue tent, thought he had a concussion. Next thing you know, he's out there playing. Did he have a concussion? Was he able to freaking trick the docs into letting him pass the protocol? And he was back on the field? But, they're looking at a certain defense, and based on what Caleb's seeing, he thought he knew that he was going to put the ball into a position and that DJ was supposed to flatten his route, and it could have been an easy completion. First of all, why are you going? You didn't need to throw the ball that far downfield to get into field goal range to win it right then and there, because you stopped them on the opening drive 3 and out and you got the ball back. So you had a chance to win it right there, and you're throwing the ball that far downfield. Now, if Ben Johnson's saying he confused DJ, is it because all of a sudden the terminology was completely different, or what he was trying to say was different from how he expressed it in practice all week? Or was DJ concussed? Maybe he couldn't see the ball. When you got the concussion thing going on, there's a little bit of double vision. That's why they hold it. How many fingers do I hold? You know what the president is? Right? So maybe he's over there looking and he's not seeing clearly out of the peripherals. I don't know. But then they say DJ, he wasn't available for the reporters. He left right away. So maybe he knew he tricked the staff into letting him play and he shouldn't have. So now he's trying, in some sense, to take the onus off the Bears by slipping out. And then we find out later the NFL decided not even to fine him for not being available for the reporters because you have to. And that's part of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have really a thought on this DJ Moore thing. I mean, he's under contract, I think, and still keep him around. He's a veteran. And he was the hero twice against the Packers. Do you think he really would have given up and been lazy when he could have been the hero again? He flattens that route out and catches that ball. The Bears are in field goal position now. Boom, they kick. Maybe at that point, Bears win the game. We're not even talking about this. So I don't think the guy would go from being a hero twice. And he's played hurt so many times this year. He spent the night in a hospital at one point and was back out the next game. We've seen him, DJ Moore on the sidelines. It looks like he's coming up wobbling. And then the very next series, there's DJ Moore over the middle. Yeah, great pass, right? So I ain't going to judge the man. Well, season ends and the Bears waste no time in signing a bunch of guys to future reserve contracts. Kadir Ismail, son of Quadri, and nephew of Rocket Ismail, a couple of NFL great guys. He's a tight end, Kadir is. They also signed wide receiver Maurice Alexander, Britton Brown, running back, tight end Steven Carlson, long snapper Luke Elkin, DB Dallas Flowers, defensive lineman Jonathan Garvin, linebacker Dominique Hampton, offensive lineman Kyle Hergel, tight end Nicolo Kalanick, defensive back Dante Manning, defensive lineman Jeremiah Martin, DB Javarius Owens, wide receiver J.P. Richardson, linebacker Nefi Sewell, the older brother of Noah Sewell. There's a lot of Sewells playing in the NFL. And they sign all those guys to future reserve contracts. So here's my big question during that game. So in the game against Packers, Ozzie Trapillo gets hurt. Theo Benedette comes in. We know the Bears win the game. We know from past reports and previous games, Theo Benedette lost his job to Ozzie Trapillo. But during the game against the Rams, Ben Johnson decides to start Jordan McFadden, who I think only had 7 snaps all season, and he slides Thuney out to left tackle, and he does that for the divisional round of the playoffs. Why did he disrupt the continuity there? I'm telling you, as a former offensive lineman, when you play with the same guys all the time, you develop a trust. You develop an instinct to know what your guy's going to do that is based off of that trust. You have continuity. They talk about it all the time. This is the 8th different starting offensive line that the Bears have had this season. It's no wonder their running game sucks and the passing game is atrocious. You know what I'm saying? So why does he decide to do that in a divisional round? Now, in that series I spoke about earlier, on that play where DeAndre Swift went to the outside over right tackle, and I think that's the play where Jared Verse blew up Jordan McFadden because McFadden was supposed to pull, causes Swift to kind of try to hurdle the DB that Rome Odunze was blocking, and everybody's saying Odunze didn't block, but you know what? If Verse doesn't blow up McFadden, who's pulling, Rome Odunze blocked long enough to keep his DB from getting to Swift. But because McFadden's pulling, and he either trips over his lineman, the video was very difficult to see. He either trips over his lineman or he gets blown up before he gets to his block, which I think was Verse. If you block Verse, Odunze's blocking long enough, Swift rolls into the end zone, no problem. So that's a continuity issue. Thuney didn't get blown up. I can't say if Thuney gets blown up in that same spot. But do you think Thuney gets blown up in that spot? Or does he see that and picks Verse up and we score? I don't know. It's crazy, isn't it? So that's what we're looking at. That's my recap of the Bears-Rams. Some Bears notable free agents before we get into my top 20. The 3 guys I got for you today. So some notable Bears free agents: Kevin Byard III, Jaquan Brisker, Nashawn Wright, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Andrew Billings, Jonathan Owens, Olamide Zaccheaus, Theo Bennett, and Braxton Jones. I may or may not have opinion on all those. Personally, I think I like Byard. He's a veteran, a leader. He says he wants to stick around. I think maybe you got to consider keeping Brisker. Wright, I think he just, got selected to the Pro Bowl. He had a good season for us. I could take him or leave him. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, another guy I could take or leave. Jonathan Owens. I mean, I don't know if this list of free agents is really spectacular to me. I would keep 2 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4. I might keep C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He backs up his teammates no matter where. Every team he's gone to has done something. I think he went to a team, won a Super Bowl, went to another team, was in the AFC champ, when came to the Bears divisional round. I mean, you got some kind of weird stat somebody can find about how C.J. Gardner-Johnson just kind of ends up on winning teams. Not sold on Billings. Jonathan Owens was not very spectacular half the time. Last season, you heard his name called a lot. This season, not so much. Theo Bennett, that kind of shocks me. I don't know where this guy came from, that he's a free agent already. And, you can send Braxton Jones home packing. So, that leads me into my Chicago Bears top 20. To recap, I talked to you number 20, Eric Kramer, number 19, Refrigerator Perry, and number 18, Robbie Gould and Kevin Butler. You may agree, you may not agree. I'm telling you, these are my 20 guys. These are my 20 guys. I got a twist in here for you. I got something you ain't going to see coming as we get further down this list toward number 1. You probably all could see number 1 coming, but I don't think you're going to see some of these others coming. And these are just guys that I like to see play. 57 years old. I didn't bring you anybody on this list that I didn't see personally play. These guys I all seen personally play. Okay? So, at number 17, we're going to go like the Fridge Perry thing. Here's a big guy, I'm telling you. one of those fatties in the middle, Tommy Harris. All right. At the University of Oklahoma, he played for Bob Stoops from 2001 to 2003. He was one of very few players in Oklahoma University history to start every game as a true freshman. The dude was a stud back then. First team All-American in 2003, and he wins the Lombardi Award as the nation's best lineman in 2003. He's named to Sports Illustrated All-Decade Team in 2009. All right. Bears select Harris. He's a 3-technique defensive tackle. He's right there in the middle, and he was a great complement to Lovie Smith's cover 2 defense, and that relies heavily. It's a zone. I've been saying this all season. That relies heavily on big beasts up front to control and dominate the line of scrimmage. Lovie Smith even said, this dude's like Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp. That's a great freaking compliment. Unfortunately, the Bears released Harris in 2011. He concludes a 7-year tenure with the Bears with 213 tackles, 28.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles in 104 games. Boom. Number 17 on my list, Tommy Harris. Now I'm going to take you out on the edge. I'm going to hit you up with, this guy played for a lot of teams, but I feel like he made a big impact with the Chicago Bears. He made a big impact on me, and this is Akeem Hicks. He was a defensive end. He was drafted by the Saints, played there for a couple of years. Then he went to New England. He came to Chicago, went over to Tampa Bay, but he comes out of Sacramento City College and the University of Regina. Where the hell was this guy playing ball, did you say? The University of Regina. Regina's my neighbor down the street. I don't think she got a college named after her. What? And he goes on to have a great career in the NFL. One of his best weeks was with the Bears in 2018, right? Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. His best years was 2018, not his best week. This instance right now, Akeem Hicks, he was ejected for pushing an official out of his way because he was fighting with Ali Marpet from the Buccaneers. Chief, come on, motherfucker. And then he pushed the ref. Boom. He didn't get suspended by the NFL, but he was fined $33,245. But against the Minnesota Vikings in week 11, boom, sacks Kirk Cousins. He records 5 tackles for a loss in that game. Bears win that game. So he also earned some time on offense during the season. In week 13 against the Giants, he lined up at up back. He was next to fellow defensive end Roy Robertson Harris. 4th and goal from the Giants 1-yard line. Boom. They hand Hicks off the ball. He runs 1-yard touchdown. Another fat guy scoring. I love to see it. It's great. And apparently they called the play freezer left. You're going to send the freezer out to the left side. Give the frickin' ball to Hicks. You know what I'm saying? And Matt Nagy's like, it was my tribute to William the Refrigerator Perry. You love how I tied that in there? That was absolutely gorgeous of me. He was the first Bears defensive player to score a touchdown on offense since Brian Urlacher caught a pass from Brad Maynard on a fake field goal in 2021. He finishes 2018 with 55 tackles, 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. He receives an overall grade of 91.6 from Pro Football Focus, and it ranks him the 4th among all qualifying interior defenders, and he's named to the Pro Bowl. That's my guy coming in at number 16, Akeem Hicks. Number 15 for me is a safety, a defensive back. And I'm going with Mark Carrier, 1989 graduate out of University of Southern California, a USC guy, right? He was named as a junior to the Playboy All-American team. He was the first winner of the Jim Thorpe Award, presented annually to the nation's best defensive back. He's selected in the first round by the Chicago Bears. Chicago. Why did I say Chicago? He was drafted by the Chicago Bears. His rookie season, he's named Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie in the Year. He leads the NFL in 10 interceptions. He was all over the frickin' place. The majority of his interceptions come from his time playing with the Bears. Forget about the couple of years he was with the Lions. Boo! We don't want to know about Boo! And he spent a year with the Washington Redskins, now the Commanders. In 2000, he was smart. He was the leader on defense. He played in 3 Pro Bowls from 1990, 91, and 1993. That's my guy, Mark Carrier. So that brings us down to number 15. We got 14 dudes left to go. I'm telling you now on this episode, the next episode won't come out until after the Super Bowl. It'll be a recap. It's Seattle versus New England. Who's going to win that game? The washed up old vet who's proven himself again, Sam Darnold? Or the young cat, Drake May? We'll see. So on the recap of the Super Bowl, we'll hit you with our last 14 of our greatest Chicago Bears. My greatest Chicago Bears of all time that I witnessed with these peepers. All 4 of them. That's it for me right now. I'm out. Peace. I'll see you where I see you. Hey, if I made you laugh, made you think, or even made you smile, please tell all your friends. If I didn't, just keep that shit to yourself. Thanks for listening to the Shawn Mackey Show.